The alarms blared across the secret lab, a warning no one should have ignored. Deep within its walls, scientists had gone too far, turning ordinary ants into terrifying hybrid monsters with human-level intelligence. One of the creatures broke free, its eyes glowing with unnatural cunning, dragging chaos behind it. Superman soared above, sensing the disturbance, while Spider-Man swung into the fray, webs at the ready. The jungle outside had never seen anything like this, and neither had the world. The escape. The night had a strange stillness, broken only by the occasional hum of machinery echoing through the hidden corridors of Lab Sigma. The government claimed it was just another research facility, but deep inside, things had gone horribly wrong. Dr. Terrence Kryn, a man obsessed with creating the ultimate hybrid species, had taken ants, the simple, diligent insects, and engineered them with human DNA, giving them intelligence, strength, and the ability to strategize. The first signs of trouble appeared when a small alarm blinked on Dr. Kryn's console. A red light flashed. Containment breach, Unit A12. Kryn barely had time to react before the reinforced glass of the containment chamber cracked under pressure. The ant's new form was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Towering over 2 meters, its exoskeleton glimmering under the lab lights, muscles rippling beneath a translucent membrane, and the haunting intelligence in its compound eyes unmistakable. Before the lab staff could react, the hybrid ant sprang from its containment. Panic erupted, screams, alarms, glass shattering. The creature wasn't alone. Within minutes, dozens more had followed, each one more cunning, more vicious than the last. They moved with purpose, targeting the control rooms and power grids, ensuring no one could stop their escape. Dr. Kryn, trapped in his observation deck, watched in horror. "They weren't supposed to think like this," he shouted. His voice echoed down empty hallways, ignored. The ants were no longer experiments. They were predators. Meanwhile, outside the lab, the jungle's dense canopy swayed under the rising wind. Birds scattered as the first creatures burst through the reinforced doors. They didn't run. They marched, their new limbs propelling them forward, silent but deadly. The world beyond the lab had no idea what was coming. Miles above, Superman felt the disturbance before anyone else did. The earth trembled faintly beneath him, a warning. Something unnatural, something dangerous had been unleashed. In seconds, he pinpointed the source. Lab Sigma, deep in the heart of the tropical jungle. With a powerful flap of his cape, he shot toward the location, eyes scanning for chaos. At the same time, Spiderman, who had been tracking unusual biohazard reports in the area, swung into the city outskirts. He landed on a jagged rock formation overlooking the lab. "This is bigger than I thought," he muttered, scanning the jungle below. "Definitely not your everyday lab accident." Inside, the lab descended into chaos. Scientists scrambled to evacuate, dragging files and samples, but the hybrid ants had already disabled communication systems. One ant cornered a fleeing researcher, its mandibles snapping shut mere inches from their shoulder. But just as the creature lunged, Superman arrived, crashing through the reinforced lab wall like a comet. "Stand back," Superman commanded, eyes glowing as he scanned for threats. The ant paused, assessing him. There was a pause, a tense standoff between two forces of different worlds, one born of human curiosity, the other of alien intellect. With a sudden roar, the creature lunged. Superman caught it midair, hurling it against the lab wall, but dozens more were on the move. Spider-Man swung down, landing atop a console. "Looks like we got company," he quipped, releasing web lines to entangle two advancing ants. He moved with precision, dodging sharp claws, striking weak points with quick shots of web fluid. "These guys aren't normal," he added, observing their speed and intelligence. The battle raged throughout the lab. Lights flickered, alarms screamed, and the walls shook under the combined force of hybrid ants and superheroes. It quickly became clear they couldn't contain all the creatures here. The hybrids were pushing toward the exit, toward the jungle, toward freedom. "Superman, we need to stop them before they reach the canopy," Spider-Man yelled, dodging a swipe that could have shredded him in seconds. Superman nodded, lifting his fists, ready to intercept any ant trying to escape. Outside, the first ant hit the jungle floor. Its new intelligence became apparent immediately. Instead of scattering like normal animals, it scanned the surroundings, assessing paths, analyzing trees and terrain. Others followed, moving with a coordinated strategy, heading for higher ground and dense vegetation where human forces would have difficulty following. The superheroes were relentless. Superman used heat vision to create barriers, cutting off escape routes. Spiderman swung through trees, taking out scouts, laying traps with webs that hardened into temporary barricades. Despite their efforts, more and more ants were breaking free. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook violently. The largest of the hybrid ants, a commander of sorts, emerged from the undergrowth. Its limbs were stronger than the rest, its intelligence more pronounced. It raised its mandibles, and a low, resonant hum filled the air. The creatures around it paused, as if waiting for a command. Spider-Man glanced at Superman, eyes wide. "We're dealing with an organized army, not just monsters." Superman's jaw tightened. "Then we fight an army," he said. "We can't let them spread into the world." "Not tonight." The hybrid commander lunged, faster than any human or spider could react. Superman caught it mid-flight, hurling it high above the jungle canopy. Spider-Man swung in perfect rhythm, cutting off two others with webbing before they could regroup. But it was clear the night was far from over. These were no ordinary ants. They were thinking, learning, and adapting. As the rest of the hybrid army retreated deeper into the jungle, Dr. Crin's voice echoed from the labs remains through a hacked intercom. "You fools. You don't understand. They're only the beginning." Spider-Man frowned. "Great. Beginnings never end well." Superman scanned the horizon. The jungle was dark, but alive with movement. Somewhere out there, the hybrid ants were regrouping, planning their next move. And the superheroes knew one thing. Stopping them here would be only the first battle in a war no one saw coming. The night ended with a tense standoff. The hybrid ants disappeared into the jungle, leaving shattered lab equipment, panicked survivors, and a foreboding sense of danger. Superman and Spider-Man stood together, surveying the chaos. "This isn't over," Superman said firmly. Spider-Man adjusted his mask, looking toward the dense jungle. "Yeah, and if they've learned anything tonight, it's going to get worse before it gets better." The first battle had been won, but the war for the jungle, and possibly the world, was just beginning. Jungle Hunt. The jungle was alive with shadows and movement, but nothing was ordinary anymore. Leaves rustled unnaturally, birds fled in panic, and somewhere deep, a low clicking echoed, a language only the hybrid ants could understand. Superman and Spider-Man moved carefully, scanning every branch, every vine. The hybrid ants weren't just hiding. They were hunting, strategizing. Spider-Man swung from tree to tree, his eyes narrowing. These guys aren't just strong, they think. And if they're smart enough to escape a lab, they're smart enough to set traps. He landed on a thick branch, scanning the clearing ahead. Below, the commander ant stood tall, scanning the jungle floor like a general inspecting a battlefield. Superman hovered, his eyes glowing, scanning for heat signatures. "They're spreading out," he said. "We need to split up and cut them off before they regroup." Suddenly, from the undergrowth, a hybrid ant burst forth, faster than any animal they had ever seen. Spider-Man flipped backward, dodging razor-sharp claws that could tear through steel. He shot a web line, catching the ant mid-leap and slamming it into a tree. But two more appeared instantly, flanking him. Superman dove into action. In seconds, he intercepted the two attackers, grabbing them mid-air and hurling them against massive tree trunks. Branches snapped, leaves exploded into the air, and the ground trembled beneath their weight. "They're adapting," Superman shouted. "They're learning from our moves." Spider-Man landed beside him, panting. "Yeah, and they're not just attacking, they're coordinating. Look at the way they move. It's like a pack with a leader." The commander ant, towering and intelligent, observed from a distance. It clicked and hissed, sending signals to the smaller hybrids. In a coordinated move, dozens of them surged forward, scattering in all directions, attempting to flank the heroes. Spider-Man's web lines flew. He swung into the air, tangling multiple ants, while using precise kicks to keep others at bay. "These aren't normal ants. Not even close," he yelled, narrowly dodging a claw swipe that would have impaled him. Superman's fists glowed with heat vision. He blasted through the center of the swarm, creating a path for Spider-Man. "Stay sharp. They're testing us, seeing how we respond," Superman said, scanning for the commander. The jungle erupted in chaos. Ants charged through foliage, jumping from trees and using vines as weapons. The ground itself seemed to fight against them, roots twisting unexpectedly, evidence of the ants' enhanced intelligence. Spider-Man barely dodged a trap set by one clever hybrid, webs catching him just in time. "Superman, over here," Spider-Man called. The commander had moved closer, sending smaller ants ahead to distract them. Superman shot a powerful heat beam, cutting through the foliage to reveal the path the hybrids were taking. As they pursued the commander deeper into the jungle, the environment changed. Swamps, thick vines, and tangled roots slowed movement, but the hybrids adapted. They leapt with astonishing agility, splitting into groups, encircling the heroes. Spider-Man gritted his teeth. "They're trying to wear us down." He shot webs in every direction, tying trees together, creating barricades, but the ants kept pressing. One of them lunged from the shadows and almost caught him, but Superman intercepted, crushing the creature midair. The commander watched, calculating as if testing every move. Then it did something unexpected. It let out a high-pitched click that echoed through the jungle. Instantly, the smaller hybrids scattered, regrouping around it like soldiers obeying a single command. Spider-Man landed next to Superman, breathing heavily. "They're too smart for a straight fight. We need a plan, or this is going to drag on forever." Superman nodded, scanning the area. "We cut them off from their escape points. Force them into one clearing. Then we can neutralize them without letting them spread." Just then, a hybrid ant exploded out of the swamp with incredible speed, grabbing a massive branch as a weapon. Spider-Man flipped, narrowly avoiding the swing. "These things aren't just strong. They're creative," he muttered. Superman acted instantly. He grabbed a massive tree and lifted it like a weapon, smashing it into the next wave of hybrids. The commander reacted instantly, commanding the remaining ants to scatter, disappearing into the dense foliage. Spider-Man clutched a vine, looking around. They're retreating for now. He shot webs to seal off parts of the path, but knew the jungle was too vast to trap them entirely. Superman's eyes glowed red. This is only the beginning. They're not just escaping, they're learning. And every second they survive, they become more dangerous. Spider-Man nodded grimly. "And we're running out of time. They're already taking over this jungle. What's next?" "The world." The commander ants clicking echoed faintly from the distance. Its plan was unfolding, and neither hero could predict what the hybrid ants would do next. They had survived the lab, adapted to the jungle, and now they were thinking in ways no human or superhero could anticipate. For a brief moment, the heroes paused, catching their breath in the dark jungle. Every shadow seemed alive. Every movement carried danger. And somewhere in the thickest part of the canopy, the commander ant was planning its next strike. Superman clenched his fists. "We need to track it, find their base, and stop them before it's too late." Spider-Man grinned, masking the tension. "I was hoping you'd say that. Time for some web-swinging detective work." But as they moved deeper into the jungle, a sudden quake shook the ground. Trees toppled. Vines snapped. The commander had anticipated their pursuit. The jungle had become a battlefield, and the hunt was only beginning. The alien threat revealed. The deeper Superman and Spider-Man moved into the jungle, the more the world seemed to change around them. Shadows twisted unnaturally, and every rustle of leaves hinted at movement that was both insectal and disturbingly human. The hybrid ants were no longer just animals. Their bodies were an eerie fusion of exoskeleton and flesh, their segmented limbs ending in clawed, almost human-like hands. Glowing compound eyes scanned the jungle in synchronized precision, and their mandibles clicked with a language of strategy. "Look at them," Spider-Man whispered, crouching atop a thick vine. "These aren't animals, they're soldiers. And not even human soldiers. They're something else entirely." A squad of 3 ants appear below, standing upright. Their torsos resembled humanoid form, armored like insects but with human-like shoulders and spines. Their legs bent unnaturally, jointed like an ant's but ending in sharp clawed feet. Each carried a makeshift weapon, twisted branches sharpened into spears, lifted with a coordination that was clearly intelligent. Superman's eyes narrowed. They've learned to craft tools. This is beyond anything we've faced. Dr. Crin's experiments, they've created a species with human intelligence and alien instincts. Before Spider-Man could respond, the largest of the hybrids, the Commander, emerged from the shadows. Its body was massive, at least 3 meters tall, with a humanoid chest covered in a thick, segmented carapace. Its head had hints of human facial structure, but the mandibles were enormous and terrifying, snapping with precision. Glowing antennae waved slowly, like a signal, as smaller hybrids surged forward in perfect formation. Spider-Man swung down. "Looks like the welcoming committee's here." He shot webs to entangle 2 approaching ants, but the alien strength of their human-like arms ripped free. Superman moved faster than the eye could track. Heat vision cut through the jungle, severing branches and immobilizing hybrids mid-charge. Still, more poured out, coming from every direction. Their strategy was clear: surround, divide, and overwhelm. The heroes realized the jungle was no longer just a battleground. It had become a labyrinth controlled by the hybrids. Vines twisted into barricades, roots lifted like natural spikes, and tree canopies became vantage points for their scouts. Every trap was deliberate, every movement coordinated. Spider-Man landed next to Superman, scanning the Commander. That one, it's thinking 5 steps ahead. You can see it in the way it moves, like it's analyzing us. The Commander let out a resonant click that echoed through the trees. Instantly, the smaller hybrids dropped to all 4s, moving with terrifying speed. They circled the heroes, cutting off escape routes. Some leapt from the canopy, landing with humanoid grace, but insect-like precision, their claws scraping the trunks as they adjusted their positions. Superman clenched his fists. "We can't let them reach the river. If they do, they'll scatter even faster, spreading beyond the jungle." Spider-Man nodded, flipping through vines to gain higher ground. "We need to force them into an open space. Then we can fight smart, not just strong." The Commander's antennae twitched. With a single command, the hybrid ants withdrew slightly, leading the heroes down a narrow jungle path toward a clearing. The heroes realized too late it was a trap. The clearing erupted with hundreds of hybrids, each with alien human features, long segmented limbs, humanoid torsos, clawed hands, and glowing eyes. Some carried twisted pieces of metal scavenged from the destroyed lab, wielded like primitive weapons. Others climbed trees, ready to ambush from above. Spider-Man shot webs frantically, trying to bind groups together, but each ant adapted instantly, cutting free or jumping out of the way with calculated precision. The hybrids moved like a single organism, yet each had an individual cunning. Superman roared, smashing the nearest attackers into the ground. "They're learning from each hit. Every second we fight, they get smarter." A sudden movement caught Spider-Man's attention. One of the hybrids had pulled itself into a tree canopy, crouching with perfect human-like balance while gripping a sharpened branch. It leapt down, landing behind the heroes with a terrifying humanoid agility. Spider-Man barely spun in time to dodge. The Commander clicked again, and the hybrids lunged simultaneously. Heat vision, webbing, and superhuman speed combined, but even together, Superman and Spider-Man were being pushed to the limit. The alien human ants weren't just monsters. They were soldiers, engineers, and hunters all in one. Spider-Man panted, dodging yet another attack. "Superman, we need to end this fast. They're not just strong. They're smart, coordinated, and deadly. This could be the fight that decides the jungle's fate, and maybe more." The Commander raised its clawed hand, and the jungle seemed to pause. Every hybrid froze in formation, staring at the heroes, ready for the next move. It wasn't just a fight anymore, it was a test. The hybrid ants were learning, evolving with every encounter. Superman looked at Spider-Man. We need a strategy. They're not just escaping anymore, they're planning something bigger. Spider-Man nodded grimly, looking into the glowing eyes of the commander. Then let's make sure they don't get the chance. Above them, the jungle canopy rustled as the commander observed, waiting. Below, hundreds of alien-human hybrids prepare to strike. The war for the jungle had entered a terrifying new phase. The jungle's deadly trap. The clearing was a nightmare. Hundreds of alien-human hybrids surrounded Superman and Spider-Man, their glowing eyes reflecting cold intelligence. Their limbs were a horrifying mix of human muscle and insect exoskeleton, their claws clicking in unison like a mechanical heartbeat. The commander, taller and more terrifying than the rest, watched with calculated patience, as if savoring the hunters becoming the hunted. Spider-Man swung onto a thick vine, scanning the perimeter. They've set up the whole jungle as a trap. Every tree, every root, it's part of their plan. Superman's eyes glowed red. We can't let them surround us completely. We need to break the formation and push them back to open ground. The hybrids moved as one. Some leapt from treetops with humanoid precision, landing on trunks and vines to cut off escape routes. Others rushed forward, wielding sharpened branches like spears. Their human-like hands gripped the weapons with terrifying skill, while their exoskeletons made them nearly impervious to ordinary attacks. Spider-Man's webs flew, tangling a group of smaller hybrids mid-leap, but each second brought a new threat. One hybrid adapted quickly, ripping itself free, its glowing eyes narrowing on him. Spider-Man flipped backward, landing on a branch as claws swiped through the space he had just occupied. Superman's fists smashed into the advancing horde, but each strike sent ripples of movement through the others. They weren't mindless. They learned instantly, adjusting their formations to counter his attacks. The commander stepped forward, towering above its army. Its humanoid torso flexed, antennae waving in deliberate signals. Suddenly, vines and roots around the clearing began to writhe, snapping toward the heroes like living whips. The hybrids had transformed the jungle itself into a weapon, using its natural features with cunning precision. Spider-Man shot webs at the moving roots, trying to hold them back, but more lashes struck him, throwing him off balance. Okay, that's new. Jungle's fighting back. Superman grabbed a massive boulder and hurled it at a group of advancing hybrids, but several dodged with uncanny agility, diving to the side and returning with counterattacks. Their speed and strength were terrifying, half human, half insect, and fully lethal. The commander's click echoed through the clearing. The hybrids froze for a moment, then surged forward in perfect coordination. Spider-Man and Superman realized they were being funneled toward a narrow gorge, a natural choke point the hybrids had carefully planned. Trap! Spider-Man yelled, swinging towards Superman. They want to corner us. Superman's jaw tightened. Then we fight on our terms. Keep them from pushing us into that gorge. The battle intensified. Spider-Man tangled several hybrids in webs, flipping between trees, while Superman blasted heat vision through the ranks, scorching the forest floor. Still, the hybrids adapted instantly, leaping higher, attacking faster, coordinating in ways no ordinary army could. One hybrid lunged from above at Superman, its humanoid arms wrapping around his neck. Superman barely shook it off, sending it crashing into the ground. Another tried to sneak behind Spider-Man, moving with human cunning, but a web shot caught it mid-step. The commander's clicking became rapid, almost frantic. Its army responded immediately, forming a perfect circle, tightening the noose around the heroes. Spider-Man's webs began to strain under the weight of multiple hybrids breaking free simultaneously. Superman landed between Spider-Man and the commander, his stance firm. We need to break their focus. Distract the leader. Spider-Man nodded, swinging high above. Time for some aerial misdirection. He fired webs in multiple directions, pulling branches to collapse paths and confuse the hybrids. Chaos erupted among the army. The commander clicked furiously, signaling for regroup, but the heroes used the moment to escape the narrowing trap. They dashed toward a river cutting through the jungle, hoping to use its open space to fight more effectively. The hybrids pursued relentlessly, but their coordination had been momentarily broken. As the heroes gained ground, the commander's glowing eyes tracked them with cold calculation. "This isn't over," Spider-Man panted, landing beside Superman. Superman looked at the river ahead, surveying the hybrids regrouping at the jungle edge. "No, they're learning too fast. We have to stop them before they evolve even more." From deep in the shadows, the commander clicked once, a warning. The alien-human army would strike again, smarter, stronger, and deadlier. The jungle had become a battlefield of wits and strength. And in the heart of it, a terrifying army, born from human ambition, was preparing for its next move. Jungle Showdown, the final battle. The river glistened under the dim light, but there was no time to admire the view. Hundreds of alien-human hybrids emerged from the jungle, their glowing eyes fixed on Superman and Spider-Man. The commander stood at the center, towering above the rest, its humanoid torso flexing beneath the armored exoskeleton. Its mandibles clicked sharply, antennae twitching like a warning drumbeat. Spider-Man swung from a tree, landing on the riverbank. "This is it, all or nothing." Superman's fists glowed with heat vision. "We stop them here, or they spread beyond this jungle. Time to end this nightmare." The hybrids surged forward. They leapt with horrifying agility, using human-like coordination while maintaining insectal speed. Some wielded sharpened branches, others used their powerful limbs to smash obstacles, creating chaos in the riverbank. Spider-Man's webs flew, entangling several attackers mid-leap, but the hybrids adapted instantly, tearing free with strength that was almost human and terrifyingly precise. Superman blasted heat vision through the thickest clusters, cutting a path for them, but the sheer numbers were overwhelming. The commander moved forward, clicking rapidly. Every hybrid followed its command, circling the heroes with calculated efficiency. "We need a plan," Spider-Man yelled, flipping over a leaping hybrid. Superman scanned the river. "We use the environment. The river slows them, gives us space to strike strategically." He lifted a massive fallen tree and slammed it across the water, creating a barricade. The hybrids crashed into it, some caught in the current, struggling to keep balance. Spider-Man swung high above, using vines to pull branches down onto advancing ants, while shooting web traps that hardened instantly. Each attack slowed them, but the commander was undeterred, stepping forward to personally engage. Its glowing eyes met Superman's, intelligence radiating from every movement. The final clash began. The commander lunged with alien-human precision, mandibles snapping, claws striking with humanoid skill. Superman met it head-on, his fists colliding with the exoskeleton, sparks flying. Spider-Man darted through the chaos, using agility and webs to strike at weak points exposed during Superman's assault. The commander adapted rapidly, but so did the heroes. Heat vision, webbing, and superhuman strength combined in perfect coordination. Spider-Man's webs wrapped the commander's legs, giving Superman a chance to deliver a powerful uppercut, sending the hybrids sprawling into the river. The remaining hybrids hesitated, seeing their leader fall. Spider-Man pressed the advantage, flipping through trees, striking with precision, while Superman created shockwaves that forced the army backward. One by one, the alien-human ants fell, either trapped in webs, swept downstream, or incapacitated by heat vision. Finally, the jungle fell silent. The commander struggled in the river, but Superman lifted it high, heat vision at the ready. With a final roar, he unleashed a concentrated blast, neutralizing the hybrid for good. The remaining armies scattered, disoriented and leaderless, retreating into the jungle depths. Spider-Man landed beside Superman, breathing heavily. Wow, that was intense. Superman looked around at the jungle, battered but intact. It's over for now, but we know what they can do. We'll have to stay ready. From the shadows, the last echoes of clicking antennae faded. The alien-human hybrids were gone, or at least contained for now. Humanity had survived the night, and the jungle, wild and dangerous, remained a battleground won by heroes. Spider-Man grinned, looking at Superman. Next time, maybe we just stick to normal ants. Superman chuckled lightly. Next time, we'll be ready. The jungle settled into an uneasy calm. Above the treetops, stars reflected in the river's surface, but the memory of the alien-human army lingered. A terrifying creation born of human ambition had been stopped, but the threat of evolution, intelligence, and hybrid cunning was never truly gone. The battle had ended. The war for survival had been won, and the heroes knew that vigilance was the only way to keep the world safe from the unknown horrors humanity might unleash.